Have you been bludgeoned to death with Ted Bundy stories? Are you choking on too many Hillside Strangler podcast episodes? As awesome as those are, cleanse your palate and add something new to your true crime diet. Why not try some Dark Poutine, a podcast from north of the 49th parallel? We cover Canadian crimes and dark histories. Some of the stories you may know nothing about, but they beg to be told. And, with Canada being the biggest small country on the planet, we even have personal connections to some of the crimes and history we chat about. Join two real live Canadians every week as we serve up another helping of Dark Poutine. We are substantially creepy, sometimes meaty, always cheesy, but very rarely sorry. So come on up north and fill your ears with some Dark Poutine.
Body partition, the cut off my ear. What the hell happened here? Option 9, tear for tear. What the hell happened here? I swear it's not good, it's such a spoon. What the hell happened here? Say what the hell happened here? Say what the hell happened here?
But really, what the hell, dude?
Good evening, everybody.
Good afternoon, my friends.
I thought it was evening.
You're right. It's evening, afternoon. Tomato. You know, we do a lot of. I went from Russian to weirder Russian. You know.
Well, whatever fucking time it is, we're speaking in an Irish accent now, and we're gonna get started on a WTH3 for you. What the hell happened here?
It's your host Lisa and your host Matt, eh?
Welcome back.
What did my accent just turn into?
Yeah, that was halfway to British to Southern to Australian at the end, and Canadian. I thought for a second there. I don't know. But hey, that was great. That was really cute.
Yes.
Ready? Jolly old meth. We're back with jolly old meth, everyone. I hope you all like more meth-themed foods because we've got more of these for you today. Everything can be turned into meth. Swear to God, yo. Anything. I'm looking at shit around my room right now, and I think my boxers and my weights and my wine glass, I'm turning it all to meth. So, we got another hell of a story for you today here, Walter White. Welcome back.
What does meth look like? Before we get started, what does it look like? What's a normal meth look like?
It can come in different forms. The most,
Apparently so.
yeah, apparently it can. Yeah, the most common is crystallized, like crystal meth, the ice form.
Like blue,
of
isn't it blue?
No, that's just in that show. It's not really
it's
particular.
not.
It's actually usually pretty clear and whitish
I didn't know so
looking.
much about meth.
I had a really interesting class. The most interesting class I took at Penn State, you guys, little blurb about this, was called Drugs, Crime, and Society.
Hey.
I had the coolest professor. He was a guy who was a former bomb squad, active an Afghanistan bomb squad
Wait,
member.
let's talk to him. Cut him up.
You know what? I should reach out to him.
That
He'd
would
really
be
be a good
cool.
guy to call. I need to get in touch with him again. He was really one of my most enlightening professors to talk to. And one day, middle of the semester, like totally uninvited and just ridiculously out of the blue, comes in with bags of different types of drugs. That
Like real drugs?
The real shebang. He was hooked up with all the guys down at the local precinct, and he went into the evidence locker and pulled out
for a forewarning, Matt's major, he double majored, but one of those majors is criminal. This is why he was in the criminal justice.
Yeah,
is why
okay,
he
yeah.
was in this class.
Little preface there. Yes, I always like to preface. Yeah, I studied criminal justice and economics at Penn State, but one of my favorite classes, as I said, was this Drugs, Crime, and Society class because of how relevant I thought it was to what's going on right now and knowing a lot about the different uses of drugs and obviously the economics behind it. It's a $350 billion a year plus industry, drugs in the world. And that's straight out of Compton. No joke. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, that is a true fact. It is $350 billion a year accounts for around the world, straight out of Compton. But literally, so we have, again, I'm sorry to get back to that, but such an interesting class because he brought in different samples of all these different types.
Did anyone steal them and just do them in the bathroom?
Pretty sure that didn't happen. I would have liked to have seen the ballsy kid that tried. I had a couple friends in that class. I think we're definitely looking at the ounce of really good bud he had. And we're thinking, yeah, maybe. It was a pound.
I'll
I'm
try
sorry.
it.
It was a pound. I'm sorry.
He brought in a pound.
It was a full Ziploc bag. And then he had brick
He really
tar
wanted to
heroin.
bring weed as if like not everybody in that class knew what
So
weed
he
looked
was, I guess, somehow connected to, I think he might have been a volunteer police officer, and he was former active duty, so he knew people in the local
But
precinct
like
and was able
weed, out of
to...
all the drugs, is the one that people normally know what it looks like.
Oh, people know what it looks like, but I'm saying he was giving us examples just to show everybody, I mean, what it is, and,
Yeah.
brick tar heroin, the white China type heroin. He had different cocaine of, like, the best varying types,
So
so,
what
like,
did it
as
look
terrible as it can look. What?
Meth.
It was actually, that's what I was going to say. So I'm sorry, I was going to round it off with that. But he had crystallized methamphetamine crystals, and they almost were like, I mean, it was chopped up a lot of it, but it was a little under 3 ounces. And he had it in, like, it was obviously taped off, and they had it in a bag, but you could, like, feel it through the bag.
Was
And
it like Hard Rock candy?
Yeah, it's exactly what it was like, honestly.
that's why this
But
is
it
what
kind of,
happens.
but it broke up. You know what I mean? Like, if you felt it and, like, pressed on it, like, you could break it up with a card or like,
Easily, you can't, like, because you can't smash a Jolly Rancher between your fingers.
It's more like in between that, but not quite as malleable as, like, y'all excuse me again using bud as an example, but it's not quite as good as, like, breaking down bud. It's not that simple, but it
Not
could,
like
like, you
leaf,
could
it's
you
a
could move
harder
it. No, it's a
substance.
harder substance, exactly, but you can move it
So
around
it's
in
like
your fingers.
soap or spaghetti sauce.
Similar to it. Yeah, not SpaghettiO sauce, but, like, yeah, you could have said
Apparently-
soap and somebody would have said to me, yeah, it's kind of a little bit.
Oh no, they thought.
But it
soap
was more
cocaine
clear.
in the
It
last
was more
episode.
clear than that, but it was that type of consistency, I
Yeah.
guess. So, anyways, for anyone that does meth, if you want to give us a call and tell us what your shit looks like, by all
Don't
means.
do meth. Stop doing meth. If you do meth, put it down.
Yeah, if you do meth, stop. Seriously.
Lisa and Matt said no.
We say stop that.
You keep your teeth in your head. Right? Doesn't meth fuck up your teeth?
It does. It fucks up your whole body.
I guess that's
So-
the point.
Anyways, we got off on a tangent, but that was a very interesting point in my life to learn about a little bit about this substance.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's gonna come back because apparently meth, like Matt said, is mistaken for everything. Everything could be mistaken for meth.
everything.
So far, we've learned spaghetti-o sauce can be meth.
Soap can be meth. Now, we find out that Jolly Ranchers can be mistaken
For meth.
for meth. So, keeping with the theme of foods that may or may not be meth, we have the case of
Myself laugh.
25-year-old Love Olatunyiho.
Thank God you took that one. Shit. I like the name
Olatunyiho.
Love.
I love the name Love. Olatunyiho, especially on Valentine's Day, everybody. We're recording... I know. We're recording 2 WTH3s for you guys tonight, so welcome to the podcast. We love y'all.
And if you haven't, this is episode WTH36. So go check out the last 5. They're really interesting. As we said, it has to do with spaghetti sauce, soap, swearing, spitting. This shit really makes you think.
Shit's crazy, y'all.
Makes you think you can get arrested for anything.
Yeah, anything, honestly. So, anyways, in June of just this past year, 2017, Love and another man were stopped by the NYPD for...
Literally a year ago.
Yeah, just a year ago. So, the NYPD searched Love and found, quote-unquote, crystalline rocks of solid material. 4 blue and 2 red. So
He
we're
picked the good flavors, at least.
we're thinking blueberry and cherry, or maybe watermelon. If he got watermelon, I'm super impressed. That's my favorite flavor.
Really, mine's strawberry, which is rare because it's not
That's
like
true. They're tough to
that's
find.
Like, yeah, because
Really
it's
hard to
only
find.
cherry, watermelon, apple, blueberry, right? And
Typically
grape.
in the bags. And grape. Exactly.
Or did I make grape? No, grape's there.
No, it's there. Purple. Yeah, for sure. We like Jolly Ranchers, obviously. So naturally, officers thought that this could not just be your simple Jolly Ranchers. There's no way they like this.
Why
guy.
would a little hard candy in its original wrapping ever actually be that candy?
Couldn't be Jolly Ranchers.
Couldn't be. It's like if you had a spoon in your car, it couldn't just be spaghetti sauce.
I'm not saying there was profiling going on,
But we are saying that.
but we're thinking. So now, if anybody is familiar with the New York City policy of stop and frisk, this is a true law in New York City that's been enacted since like the mid '90s or the early 2000s, I believe. That you could Rudy Giuliani under his regime, but you could literally stop and frisk under
shit,
the
I didn't know
suspicion that somebody had
Was carrying
something
meth?
on them. Yes, or not meth, anything, a gun, drugs,
Yes.
anything, meth, anything.
Yeah.
I'm talking anything. And police had the right to literally stop you on the street and say to you, what are you doing and why are you doing it here? So it's interesting to me,
That's
though.
probably what happened here, then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this guy was a victim of stop and frisk. However, it hasn't really been a policy so much recently. I think they actually might have canceled it several years ago, that it was
Because it was ridiculous.
Well, because it was honestly like 10% of people that they stopped were now, and I'll give them credit for this, violent crime in New York dropped drastically during the policy while it was enacted. That's a huge thing that have been attributed to Rudy Giuliani since he was no longer the mayor of New York City, is that they had a really huge drop in violent crime there. Probably a lot as a result of that. But once again, as we like to call it, Lisa, I love how you name this, fuck you over hard field test.
Yes.
Yeah, because
that's literally what it is.
These field tests, man, they just...
I want to know what it consists of. We're going to have to interview a police officer, because I want to know, like, did they, like, drop something on it and it turns blue? Or, like, what is a field test? Because I know field test for, like, sobriety is, like, walking in a straight line, touching your finger to your nose from afar, singing your ABCs or whatever the hell. But or taking a breathalyzer. But what the hell is a field test for a substance?
That's what I'm saying. I don't even understand.
That's what I don't understand. Because I can understand, like, making a guy piss in a cup or something. That would be like a field test.
That's a field test, but what exactly are you talking about with like Jolly Ranchers? How do they test that? So I don't even know. But okay, so again, these were Jolly Ranchers in their original packaging, but it was enough to take these guys, put love
Ranchers.
And like 5 or 6 Jolly Ranchers, put Love and a couple of his friends behind bars for 24 hours. They arrested these guys, took them to jail based on this field test, and held them for 24 hours.
Because they literally had candy in their pocket.
Literally. So, obviously, no shock here, the lab test concluded that the hard crystalline substance was actually from the candy shop that was down the road from where they were arrested in New York, and they had Jolly Ranchers in their pocket.
They were, in fact, Jolly Ranchers, and not meth.
Not meth.
Can you fucking imagine how angry you would be if you literally had candy in your pocket and you were stopped and told you had meth and then taken to jail for meth?
No.
My mom is so crazy that she would believe it was meth, even if it was proven to be Jolly Ranchers, because she thinks, like, why would a cop ever lie? And, like, I'm not saying all cops lie, but a lot of cops embellish things because it helps the case.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying cops lie, but at the same time, there have been obvious cases where cops have made mistakes, and some people have lied, and some people have embellished, and some people have just straight up, made mistakes. We're all human. I'm not blaming these guys. I think, they conduct these field tests, and whatever these field tests consist
you're right, though. It had to have been some kind of racial thing, because if I had Jolly Ranchers on me and they stopped me, I probably wouldn't be going in for meth.
I'm just saying. I don't know.
Although
I don't ever like
SpaghettiOs, she was white.
Yeah, she was. So I think these field tests are obviously inconclusive, but I think in this case, like, why did you stop these dudes in the first place?
Yeah.
And then search them. And then take out Jolly Ranchers, and then assume that they were drugs. Like,
that's
honestly,
offensive. Like, I don't do meth. Do I look like I do meth?
Offensive is the slight of that. I mean, honestly, if that's me, and I'm sorry, but it's not me, but I'm fucking furious at that. That is ridiculous. That's an overstep of your boundaries by leagues, light years. How can you ever say that makes any sense?
Yeah.
And then later, they obviously found out that they were just Jolly Ranchers, so thank God somebody advised these guys, and Love and his friends all ended up filing a lawsuit against the New York Police Department that contends that basically the officers violated their constitutional rights to unreasonable search and seizure, which is true. In some degree, they had the right to search them, but not to hold them for such inconclusive evidence.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I think field tests should be thrown out the window. There has to be a better way, or someone who can make a better, more accurate field test that actually tells you when a Jolly Rancher is a Jolly Rancher and not meth.
Dude, I mean, honestly, what are we...
That's scary. It's like you're wasting resources, you're wasting time. When there are real people out there that do have meth, or that are killing people.
And you wonder how many of those people have had their opportunity in
field
court.
tests. I wonder, we have to look into that. We're going to have to do a WTH3 episode all on just field tests and what it includes, what it means, how you use it, even on people, places, things, like what the field tests consist of, and then why they're so inaccurate all the fucking time.
It's unbelievable, honestly.
It's ridiculous.
And so we actually did a little bit more research here and found out that Love experienced emotional trauma because of their false arrest.
Which I don't blame him. I would fucking be...
I mean...
I'd be scared, because...
I don't necessarily say that you
Jolly
had
Ranchers,
emotional trauma, but at the same time, like, yo, I'd be furious.
But that's emotional trauma. It's like... If you were put in a jail with violent offenders,
I'll
people
tell you
who
one
actually
thing,
committed a crime.
I'd never trust the police again.
Absolutely.
If I was that guy, I'm saying I'd never trust police again.
Nope.
Based on what happened.
I'd be scared of police.
Yeah,
From
I would
then
be
on,
too.
Having candy in my pockets is a crime.
Right.
Okay, what the fuck can I do?
What can I do? Right.
And who's to say I'm not going to be thrown back in jail again just for breathing and walking down the street?
Right, exactly. So their lawsuit actually was... There was grounds for them to win that lawsuit. So they were all receiving a $33,000 settlement last we checked.
So let's rewind. You can arrest me for Jolly Ranchers. Put me in this number for 24 hours if you want to give me $33,000 afterwards.
Fair.
I'll take it. You want to give me $33,000 for wrongly arresting me because
Fair.
you... I'll take it. Do it.
Fair.
I volunteer as tribute.
Fair. Okay. Eye for an eye was met. Fair.
Yep.
You got a nice check out of that.
You got... Okay,
Fair.
so this, you could buy a lot of Jolly Ranchers with $33,000. All over Jolly Ranchers. Obviously, there was more to it because they got arrested, but 24 hours in jail for 5 Jolly Ranchers, they got $33,000.
I'd buy some Jolly Ranchers and then buy
I'd send them
a
all to the
car
police station.
to keep them in.
Yeah.
And send them to the police station. So, ironically enough, this has actually not been an isolated incident with the New York police, and unfortunately that's been an ongoing situation where just in between July 2011 and June 2012, now this is a spike, we would like to point that out, but City of New York shelled out $22.8 million to settle various civil rights lawsuits that they were experiencing at the time. And in one such case, the city paid a 12-year-old girl's family $115,000 because police arrested her for doodling on her desk.
Can we talk about that for a second?
I mean, I think we have to. Like,
Can we talk about that for a second?
well, let me say this other one too, and then let's talk about both of them because it's just like, what the hell happened
I
here?
will doodle on every... I'll spray paint my whole house if you give me $115,000.
I used to do some stupid shit on desks. Let's just point that
I
out.
will doodle all over whatever you want if you pay me $150,000.
So this is another absolutely astounding one. A petty thief, a guy who was caught robbing, who knows what, a
probably like a
bodega or a
convenience store, yeah.
convenience store, something minor. Now, granted, obviously, theft is never okay. We're not approving of this, be honest.
No.
But he received a settlement of $150,000 after police officers smashed his head through a windshield while he was being cuffed. 150 grand.
First of all, okay, so I get it. Like,
I don't think that is even enough, honestly. Like,
windshields
what?
are tough.
That's
you know
a
what I
hard
mean?
piece of metal.
You'd have to be
of glass.
smashing
Of glass.
someone's.
You really got to put somebody's head on hard.
And they won. Both of these, the doodler and them, they won that money. So they proved in court that this was unlawful. First, let's go back to doodler. 12-year-old.
12.
Doodling on desk. This goes back to Toot, which was last episode. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. In school, why is this a offense?
How is this a police issue?
Why was she arrested? A 12-year-old for doodling on a school
We don't
desk.
know. We don't know what she drew, but is that an offense punishable by law, or is that something
By
that
school,
can be
like
handled?
suspend her for a day. Like, that's fine.
Something that should be taken
Who
into
called the
account.
police because she drew something on a desk?
I don't believe it.
And I feel like it would have said in the articles that I was reading about this that she would have like drawn something crazy.
I mean, it could have been something offensive. It could
But
have
I
been a
feel like that would've been in the
swastika. It
article
could
and
have
I
been a
didn't see
fucking
anything.
something terrible, but
Even so, it's like, isn't that since when is that punishable by law? Kids draw crazy shit all the time. Not saying it's good or bad, but
I drew some vile things on my desks back in the day.
where's your $115,000?
I know. I should have done something about it. I should have told on myself. Be like, look what I drew!
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we wonder why there is some...
Distrust within the criminal justice system. It makes sense. It does, because we see things every day where it's like, how or why or what the hell happened here?
What the hell
That's what
happened
spawned
here?
this little, because pretty much the whole podcast is based on what the hell happened here, because eye for an eye. How is justice met?
Check out.
Right? So check out. So this is episode 6. We love you all. Thank you for checking us out. Let us know what you think. Would you doodle? I would do literally all of these things if it meant that I got that money in payoff.
I love Jolly Ranchers, yo.
So Matt's about to go to jail for meth possession.
I would definitely draw on a desk for $115K. I've done that for nothing.
I don't think I would steal with my head bashed.
You are not putting my head through a windshield without me killing you, though. So I probably would not do that.
Yeah, that one I would pass on. But that is WTH3. We love you. Rate, review, and subscribe. Be our friend. We'll be yours. If you have a crazy case that you're like, what the hell happened here? And it's not a big one, but it's something you want to share. Or if something happened to you and you're like, I was wrongfully, arrested or whatever, in trouble. We want to know. We'll shout you out. We'll get it done. So we love you guys.
What the hell happened here?
What the hell happened here, guys? Good night.